Hi everyone, Christine Russell here with Essential Sisters. We are part of the Greater Essential Practice team with Elena, and I'm here today with Robin Walker, Dr. Robin Walker, who is a beloved team member of mine, and she has recently been on the Nepal co-impact sourcing trip with doTERRA. And we wanted to get together and hang out and have a bit of a conversation on Zoom for you guys so that Robin can really share from her heart about her experience, because I think you'll see it was quite profound. So Robin.
So Christine.
Take it away, sister. Tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Okay, a little bit about myself?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my name is Robin. I am a mom to two boys, Jake and Finn, who are 5 and 10. I love to laugh.
And you have a very contagious one.
Yeah, I love to laugh. I currently work as a scientist in primary healthcare. So I'm a health researcher and I have an adjunct, so I teach at the university, and I am a silver doTERRA leader on Christine's team.
And a PhD. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, and my PhD, yeah. You're so cute.
And Robin lives in Calgary.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys are in Calgary and you want to hang.
Anytime.
Calgary.
Yeah, come hang out.
So I also went on a co-impact sourcing trip, as you know, Robin, last November to Guatemala. And I definitely feel like when I got home, it was very hard to communicate the experience.
Yes.
Because it is so personal and it is so mind-blowing to be on these co-impact sourcing trips. Yes. So hope is that people will be able to just pick up on your energy and you can just share whatever comes through from your heart, so that other people can have, even if it's a little bit, smaller, a peek into some of the insights that you had when you were there.
Yeah, sounds good.
So is there anything you want to lead with before I ask a couple questions?
Well, I guess I went with 40 other people on the Canadian team. There was probably about 10 people from the US as well. And the Healing Hands project that we specifically worked on was a water project pipeline, so an irrigation system for over 500 families that currently don't have water access or clean water to their homes. So just that was the project that we were specifically going to work on.
And you want to let everyone know where you were?
Yeah, okay, so we got there, we landed in Kathmandu, which is the capital of Nepal. And then we got the very fun experience of going on a bus ride for about 7 hours, just a little bit bumpy, just a little nausea, and we went to rural Nepal. I can't even remember off the top of my head the region because it was, can I remember? No, I can't. But so in the village, there was probably about, a couple hundred families that were living in the village that we went to. So that's where we went for that project specifically.
Yeah. And can you share with us maybe the top couple really notable experiences that you had?
Okay, so
maybe it's 1, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 2.
Totally. It's so hard to pick, because the whole trip was just so mind-blowing and so life-changing that just picking a couple is even hard. But I think for myself, a couple of the aha moments that I had was, the first one was because when we arrived to the village, we got to actually have time to interact with the villagers. We got to dance with them, we got to sing with them, we got to, show each other our dance moves, have nail polish with the girls, share our oils with them. So we actually got to know them. We worked alongside them on this water project. So I really loved the interaction. So we actually got to see how they were living and get to know them a little bit personally. So specifically, I had this one moment. We were hanging out with these teenage girls who were awesome, and they spoke a little bit of English, so we were dancing, and we had gotten to know them over a few of the days. And so a few of us went down because we were staying kind of at the top of the village, doTERRA was. And so we were walking down into the village with these girls, and they were like holding our hands and just so excited to get to know us and have that opportunity. And at one point when we were walking down, the teenagers stopped and they just stared at me, and I was like, okay. And they said, oh, we want to know, do you like our village? And I was like, do I like your village? I love your village. Like, I love your homes. I love, how you respect the things that you have. I love the mountains. They're like, those aren't mountains. They're not the Himalayas, right? They were hills. And I felt like they had this look of like shock on their face and like disbelief, and then just like full of pride and joy. And I know because like none of these, most like 95% of these villagers will never leave the village. They'll never go, like they don't have means of transportation to get to the larger city. They do have some access to the internet, so they do know some things, but I felt like at that moment, my response to them was like, it could have been like changed their life. They're like, these people came, they love our village, they were full of pride. And it just reminded me, like, no matter where you are in the world, if you say something kind to somebody or just reach out to somebody, like whether it's for oils or just getting to know them, you can have such an impact on their lives. And so that was one of my aha moments. I don't know why, but it was. And they were just so sweet, those girls.
I think it's of impact because I think that's a big part of your why.
It's a big part of my why. It's totally true. And it just solidified it for me when that exact moment. And I remember exactly where I was standing. I remember what the view was. And I remember the look on those girls' faces, And it was like, wow, like, I don't know. Yeah, it just really impacted me. Yeah.
Anything else that stands out?
Yeah. Well, another thing that I really love, is doTERRA just finished building a hospital. So this was in a different village, probably about an hour bus ride from where we were. And they just finished building this new hospital. So this hospital was for about it serves the span of about 300 kilometers. So a long range, geographic range. And it was just really interesting for me because I work in primary healthcare. I work in health systems to see what the current state. So they had a different, their current clinic beside there. It was an outpatient clinic. So they would just come, like our primary care, come, get their prescription or whatever they were coming from. And then they would leave. And just seeing how they serve people there with the resources that they have, and just how abundant our healthcare system is, despite all of the challenges that we have with our healthcare system. And I was just so proud to be a little tiny part of doTERRA, because they come in and they have these projects. Like, this hospital is incredible. So people can come and stay. It's an 18 beds. And it's a grassroots sustainable project. So the government's been involved from the very beginning. They've approved it. The Healing Hands Foundation comes in and gives that money to Choice Humanitarian, who runs the project. Then Choice Humanitarian, what they do is they go in and they provide leadership skills for that specific community. And they get a committee together that has both, females and males. And they are actually in charge of running the project. So to be a small part of that project for me, or just even with the Healing Hands Foundation, I don't know, it blew me open, because it's just, I don't know, how they come into with the government, and the government is going to provide and pay for the physicians and the physician assistants, moving forward as well. So everything is sustainable. I just love it. Yeah, it just got me really excited, and I love to see it. So that was another highlight for me.
Any other one before I?
Any other highlights? Well, I mean, there's so many, but another highlight, I guess, or something that really, I went there completely out of my comfort zone. So Christine was like, you have to go on this trip. It came up, and I was like, okay. Like, I was like, I don't know anybody. I mean, I don't really have the financial means to go, but I'm just gonna go. Everything kind of aligned. I got childcare. I made it work. I felt like I had to go. So I'm a little nervous because I've never traveled that far, especially by myself. And I was like, okay, I get there. But the doTERRA people and the choice people were just such kind human beings. Everyone was just so open and so willing to share about their own lives, like just being open, vulnerable, share about their business, give tips, challenge you. Like, I just felt like we came together as a group. Some people did know each other, but I felt so included, and I felt like there was just so much love between us, and love in serving other people, and love in trying to make the world a better place and get people out of extreme poverty. So I really love that. Yeah, so good.
I think what's so interesting, you guys, is that we've been talking for 20 minutes and Robin hasn't mentioned anything yet about an essential oil.
True.
Because one of my biggest takeaways from our trip to Guatemala, where we watched the process of the cardamom oil, was that doTERRA does so much work beyond the oils. Right? Like, she doesn't even talk about the wintergreen and the growing and the distilling and all that, right? Which is a huge part of the trip.
Totally.
They're so involved outside of the actual oil growing and production and distillation, because they're so involved in the community, building, a hospital in Nepal. In where I was in Guatemala, it was a pig farm and a center, a vocational facility to teach people how to actually build houses. And these are all things that, doTERRA's mission is to provide a hand up, not a hand out. Yeah. So how can we elevate these people and help them to get out of poverty versus just throwing money, which doesn't help anybody, because money doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, 100%. Right? And it solidified any questions I had about the company, any questions about MLM, any questions. I had it all about doTERRA. It's like, I'm so 100% confident, and the company completely aligns with my values. Like, my mind was blown. And I really did love seeing the sourcing of wintergreen too. One thing that was really cool is we got to see the women coming down from the foothills of the Himalayas with their baskets, like the 80 pounds on their heads, 80 kilograms actually. And they took it off, and there's a scale there. It's just like we're in the middle of, the hills there. There's not much development. They put it on the scale, and we see them get paid right on the spot. So you hear that, and when you see it, it's just so different. Like, it's like, this is actually happening. Like, this woman can feed her kids today. She might be able to send them to school today. And the transaction occurred right in front of our group. But that was just one tiny, tiny small part of the whole trip. Right? Because you saw so much impact to so many different people.
And what would you say is the sort of the top thing that you learned about doTERRA as a company that you didn't know or didn't understand?
Well, you hear that at the heart of doTERRA, it's giving and empowering others. And I think at some surface level, I could understand that before. But this trip, I just feel like it delved in deep, and I know that the heart of this company is giving to other people, and it's empowering other people. And it's not just with the oils, although the oils are so important. It just goes so beyond that. So I feel like I learned a lot about different organizations that doTERRA works with. I didn't really, how they hold hands, or they partner with Choice Humanitarian and Days for Girls and all these other projects. And one thing I didn't know too is you can do a local project within wherever you live, and you can apply for funding, and they'll match funding if that's approved. Like, they just go beyond. So I don't feel like I really fully understood that until I went on this trip, and I feel like on this trip, I probably only got a little glimpse, because we think of how many countries they're working in. Like, I can't even like, I can't explain how, it's really hard to explain until you see a little bit of that, right?
Mm.
So I think that's the thing, how they really, the heart of the company is giving to other people in so many different ways.
Mm.
I think, yeah.
I remember feeling very similar, that I wasn't just learning it cerebrally, like reading it on a website. I was like feeling it in my heart.
Totally, 100%. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, totally. Because you get it, but until you see it, it's like, whoa, right?
And what shifted inside of you personally?
Oh, shifted inside of me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I'm still in the process of figuring that out. I'd say, like, I don't think, because the trip was so busy, you don't have 100% time to, well, actually, you don't have much time to process it all there, and then you come back to your regular life. But I feel like on some level, I'm a lot more confident in myself and what I'm doing with my life and what I want to do with my life. And ultimately for me, that's to have a positive influence on people's lives, wherever they live and wherever they are. If I can reach out and be kind to them, that's how I want to live my life. And I guess, like, when I came back from this trip, seeing people who live literally in extreme poverty, don't have shoes, like, they don't have dental care, they don't have running water, they hardly have anything, right? And so when coming back here, just remembering how privileged we are and how grateful I am for the small things that I have in my life, and that I want to, because I'm so privileged, I want to be able to give back to other people. And I feel like I'm not going to forget that. But I'll stay tuned on other things that are life-changing, because I'm sure there's so many different ones.
You're like fresh home, right?
Yeah.
And what would you say shifted inside of you with respect to your business, your oils business?
Oh, with my respect to the oils business. Well, I think I've kind of mentioned a little bit in terms of the oil business, but I think that more confidence for me. So definitely 100% confident in the product, 100% confident in the company, 100%. Getting more confident in myself. And then just recognizing that any little step and any little thing that you're doing in a day matters. Like, it may seem mundane. It may seem like you're reaching out to someone and trying to get them to come to a class, or trying to get someone to come to a DIY, or all these little small things. Since coming like back from that project and seeing that woman's face when she got paid, right? The small actions that we take daily have a large impact long-term on other people. And when we do it collectively all together, we can have a big impact. So I feel like that's translated into my business and how I'm viewing it and how I'm seeing it. Because sometimes it's so easy to say, oh, I'll just do that later, or I don't need to reach out to that person, you know. But if I want to have a positive influence on people, and you want to like make an impact on people, like on such a large level, this is how we can be helping. So does that make sense?
Sure does.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. So
is there anything else on your heart that you want to share before we jump off?
Well, I just want to encourage anyone who's watching this, or anyone has the opportunity to go on a co-impact sourcing trip. Oh, I might start crying. Is I really encourage you to go. Even if it feels like it's so hard to go, or you don't know anyone, or it's outside of your comfort zone, you're really safe there. doTERRA takes really good care of you. And it's just like, I think it's going to be one of the most life-changing experiences that I've had. And I'm so thankful that Christine told me to go. I've met such great friends, and I've just changed as a person. And I really I'm thankful to be a part of a little tiny part of doTERRA. And I think, I don't know, it's really hard to explain how the trip can impact your life. Like, it's really hard to put it into words. Even when Christine was like trying to explain, go, 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 it's going to be like, Emily texted me of Essential Sisters and she was like, this is going to be the most life-changing trip of your life. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what does that mean? But it's so true. And I don't think you know until you go. So I would say to everyone, go. Apply for the lottery tickets, get there however you can. It's worth it. All the sacrifice, it's so worth it. So thank you, Christine, for telling me to go.
I knew in an instant, in that very moment, I remember where I was standing when I got the call and I was like, Robin, she's going on this trip. And I called you and you were like, I'm in. No thinking about it. No, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Let me just mull it over. You were like, I'm in. And I'm like, they need the deposit tomorrow. You're like, paid.
Yeah, it just
was all just meant to be.
Yeah, it's all meant to be.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us, with me, with Essential Sisters, and then our extended loving family of Essential Practice.
I'm happy to talk to anyone. Just reach out to me if you want to discuss further. So
thanks, Robin.
Okay, sending much love.